Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we'll be going through the Carlton versus Sydney game, 44-39. What a game it was. Sydney just fell short, but there was obviously promising signs, and it sucked that I sort of knew that this was going to be the case with the Sydney girls, that they're going to fall just short in this game. We saw some really good performances from Gardiner and Moffat, as well as Moody and Mackay from the Carlton side, but yeah. It sucked that I got the tip right because of being a Swans fan, and I wanted the girls to win. It was sort of a conundrum that it's like, there was about 3 or 4 minutes to go and the Swans had gotten back to a goal, and I was just like, well, I want the Swans to win, but my tip is like right at the moment, and I'm pretty sure if I just reach over for my iPad here and open up to see what I actually tipped, I'm pretty sure I tipped a close game as well, so I'm pretty sure I got the tip pretty much bang on. Let me just scroll through here. It's not in that one. Not in that one, it's in that. Then we go over here, YouTube. Women's tips, I had, wait for it, I had Carlton by 16, so it wasn't the best tip in the world that they were out by 11, but I mean, it wasn't the worst tip that I had Carlton still winning that game, so yeah, that wasn't the worst tip. But yeah, Sydney girls just fell short, but they're definitely building, and you could see that midfield of Gardiner, Moffat, Malloy's not doing much, but she's copying the best player sort of tag role. That's always seems to happen. And then you have Ella Heads with some really good development there, as well as I thought Kennedy put together one of the best halves I've ever seen from sort of not one of the well-known. I mean, her first quarter was just amazing. 42 fantasy points. I think she had about 10 touches, three tackles, 3 marks. It was a really good first quarter, and for being one of the lesser known, I guess, players, to put together a quarter like that was really, really fun to watch. Then you come here, so yeah, so let's actually get into the video, I guess, and not go the whole video with just me on screen here. But as you can see here, Moody 98, Mackay 96. They just dominated the game. Moody only 11 hit-outs, but got the 8 marks, 3 tackles, 16 touches, 98 fantasy points. Mackay 96, 25 touches, 8 tackles. So yeah, they really just dominated the game and sort of held the game together for Carlton. As the Swans really should have taken that game by the scruff of the neck and probably won it pretty easily. But the Carlton were just so efficient going inside 50 that they ended up keeping the Swans at bay while the Swans were on top, and then the Swans had that shaky sort of 10-minute period, and Carlton definitely took advantage of it, and I think they kicked they kicked 3 goals in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes in the second, I think it was, to stretch away. But yeah, the Swans, for all the dominance in the first quarter, they were only up by I think a point, and that point came late. The goal came very late with about 25 seconds left in the quarter, so they really should have had more on the board in the first quarter, which ultimately would have won them the game. So they'll probably be kicking themselves for that, but at least it was a better first quarter than what they've seen against North and Brisbane, where they get blown away in the first. So there is obviously positive signs with that, which was really, really good to see. But obviously you'd like to see the wins on the board, but at least it wasn't like last year where it was smoking after smoking, and even losses against sides like Carlton by like 8 or so goals type of performances. Obviously they haven't played Carlton yet, and this was their first game, but they lost to Port, a new team, last year by 11 goals, 10 goals, something like that. So to see games like this where they're only really getting blown away by the top teams in Geelong, Brisbane, who else have they played? They're 2 and 3, and if we look at Sydney, they lost to obviously Carlton, but that was a close game, and they lost these 2 games, and they won against GWS and the Eagles. So I think it shows that there is something there for the Swans in the coming years, and we'll see what they do in the off season, as I expect them to be sort of that 12 to 15 sort of range. Shearer, Peterson, Gabby Pound, Goss, Mick Williams, and yeah, pretty happy that I got rid of Gardiner, as that Gardiner trade was 71 points, which sort of helps cover the shocker that Phillips had. If I had covered up Phillips and gotten rid of her instead of Stratton, I probably would have profited here by potentially somewhere close to 50 to 50 points on top of probably 40 points on top of Phillips's head, and then 70 points on top of Gardiner's head, which added up to about 110 extra points. But obviously Phillips, that was just the wrong trade out. Forgot to trade her out, to be honest with you, and that would have opened up a lot of things. I would have almost been able to do some other stuff, but yeah, pretty happy with what I've done so far. I think the funny thing is, if Bowers wasn't ruled out, I would have had the perfect trades, to be honest with you. Would have had the absolute perfect trades. Would have got Priest and something like would have got Priest and Goldsworthy in, and that would have done for Gardiner and Phillips, and that would have been the perfect trades. But anyway, moving on to the Swans side of things, and you had Gardiner here, 33 touches, got off the leash in the second half, 23 and 40. I mean, she was on the leash pretty much until about 5 minutes ago in the second quarter, and then she went out and laid, I think it was something like 2 or 3 tackles late in the third, as well as kicking the goal there. I think the goal sort of started her going crazy. If I just look here, looking at the first quarter, she had 9 touches, 2 tackles, 1 mark. Second quarter here, she had a goal, 7 disposals, 1 mark, 3 tackles. So the tackles and the mark came late. And then in the third, she had, if I'm looking here, what did she end up with? 23. So she had 7 touches, 1 mark, 1 tackle. And then in the last, she had 10 disposals, and 4 tackles to end up with a 44 there. So her tackling ability just means that she's able to rack up points so quickly, and the way she is such a fancy pig in that she just wants to grab the 1-2 so much. She will handball and then just run inside of the defender and then get that 1-2, and it's really smart football, but it also is so fancy pig worthy of just getting all those points. The amount of times she goes bang bang and gets 2 disposals at once, it would be crazy compared to the likes of other top tier players that do a lot of their work individually. And of course she has the tackles that add up quite quickly. Moffat with a 118 was absolutely huge, and to find a way to get to her would be huge, but I don't think I'll be able to, as I just have to fix the likes of Phillips. Immediately she's going to go down 120, 130k or something ridiculous. She's going to go down massively, which sort of sucks. Privatelli 92, she was at huge, one that stepped up, and I think that's something that the Swans really have to work on in this off season, is finding, I know that Moffat is dominant in the ruck, and I love the way Hamilton is. Like, she's a great person, but the end of the day, they probably need to find that key forward or something like that can really, sort of help out in the ruck as well as just be a dominant force up there. And I don't think Hamilton is that, sadly, at the end of the day. So they probably need to find a forward that can kick consistently a goal or 2 a game, roughly. I know Privatelli is sort of that around about that marker, but I think you could find a better scorer, to be honest with you, that could help out Privatelli and be a 1-2 punch there, I guess. And then Heads 88, that was huge, and that was just so fun to watch. She is such a, it's like that of Gardiner, in the sense is that she just takes just loves to get the disposal, for her role, the +6s so much. She and I mean, if we actually look at, I just want to check something quickly with the kick-ins, because I'm pretty sure she doesn't do the kick-ins necessarily as much. With the kick-ins here, Ella Heads, at least she knows the fancy role of taking it outside the square to get the +3. But yeah, so she's just really, really a fancy gem in the sense there. And to see her really progress this game, this was a big, big learning game for her, and a big, big show that she can do it, as she don't know who she was on necessarily, but don't remember her really conceding too much to her opponent. I thought she won the battle there, considering that unless she was on Austin, who I think is a midfielder anyway, she would have won that. She would have won that battle. Austin is a forward, so take that back. But yeah, no. If she wasn't on Austin, then she's pretty much won any battle here, except for Mick Williams. Maybe you could give an argue for Mick Williams being a forward. So she might have been on one of those two, which sort of is an even battle. I don't know necessarily. Someone will have to point that out. But yeah, I thought she was really, really good. Stein, Shepherds, Kennedy, as we were talking about earlier. Hurley came alive a little bit late, I believe. Yeah, as you can see, third quarter, 32, she sort of tried to carry the team on her back. She's sort of progressing really well, and I believe she's 20 or 21. She really has a bright future there. McAvoy 61, since Sigeti 59, Whelan 54, so sort of just another midfielder doing a bit job, and would like to see these sort of midfielders step up a little bit in terms of their output, but there's only so much you can do at a AFL women's game with shorter quarters, etc. There. Then you have Malloy, and yeah, she copped the tag, but you would expect her to do a little bit better. 10 touches is a little bit low. Even with a tag, you'd sort of expect her to get 15. So that sort of sucked. And she gave away a couple of silly free kicks there. And that's probably one thing she can sort of improve on, is just sort of keeping her, I guess, head and just trying to work out a way to, especially now that she is copping it each and every week, she's got to find a way to probably work through a tag and try and, get into a situation where she can... whether that be run her tag into the ground, or whether that be just try and get into such a big pack area where you can sort of get away from your tag, or get it onto a 2-on-2 with trying to get Gardiner or one of the other mids, Hurley, involved in trying to block out the tag. Maybe one of the mids or one of those half forwards can get involved and try and get her away from her tag at all costs, but we'll see what happens there. I think they'll obviously look at that, as it's happened a couple of weeks in a row now, and try and find a way through that. But, we'll see what happens next week. Smith, Tarrant, Hamilton. Hamilton again. Someone just probably needs to just get in her ear and just tell her to just take a second, because she is very similar to that of Chad Warner in the way she plays the game. She tries to burst through every pack, and there's a point where you just need to tell her to just take a sec and relax, because if she doesn't, she's very jittery with the ball at hand. She can produce those magical moments, but she just sometimes just doesn't seem to have, or almost have, not as an impact as she probably could do. So it seems like she's had that second year jitters at the moment. She was so good in year 1, and now in year 2 she doesn't seem to have as bigger impact. I know that is definitely impacted by Gardiner and Malloy coming in, and the emergence of Hurley and some other girls. But yeah, no, she should just need someone in the coaching staff just to or whether they want someone obviously they want someone to break the game open, but I think there is a more controlled mannerism that you can sort of do it in. And then Montana Ham, 25 points, coming back a little bit, and I think from what I remember, she was in the forward line quite a lot, so don't know how many CVAs she necessarily got, but there's certainly at least she got through the game. Let's just put it like that. I'm pretty sure she got through the game, and yeah, just happy for that, and happy to see her come back into that midfield fold next week, more likely, and that probably pushes Hurley out of the midfield and some other girls. But when you have a midfield 3 or midfield 4 of Moffat, Gardiner, Malloy, and Ham, I think that's going to be a midfield 4 that's going to be, when they get some games together, is going to be tough to come up against. But anyway, a very, very long video, obviously, as it's the Swans, so I have more, I guess, knowledge about what's going on with them. Sorry about just hitting my mic, but anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.